Hi, I'm Phil, welcome to my channel where I talk about all the geeky pop culture that I like to consume, including things like the MCU, Star Trek, and of course, Doctor Who, and today it is the Comic Con panel for Series 13. Did it reveal anything? Did we get any morsels of information? That's what I'm going to break down in this video. Just to say that if my microphone happens to be picking up a lot of commotion coming from the other side of this wall, that's just my kids having their bath time. What can I say? The Comic Con panel happened to drop at the same time as my kids have their bath. There's not much I can do about that. Got to work with what we got. So if there is a bit of noise coming, that's what you're hearing. Just ignore it. Just zone it out or something. So we got a lot more, I think, in this panel than we have had in any of the Comic Con panels from the Chris Chibnall era so far. We got images, we got a trailer, we got little tidbits of information that were dropped in the conversation. We got information about a new character that will be playing a recurring part, not part of the TARDIS team, but something else that will be in future episodes. And we got a bit of information about the structure of the series as well. So we got quite a lot of stuff, which is very exciting. And I like a lot of what I saw and heard in this panel. Would I have liked to get a little bit more? Always. I mean, I always love a little bit more information, but I think they did enough to satisfy the sort of basic requirements of a Comic Con panel and didn't just leave people thinking it was just a load of people talking about how they had a jolly good time on set. We got some actual reveals in this, so that's good. So the first reveal we got, and I'm pretty sure we didn't know this already, we got the new character's last name, the new companion's last name up until now, just known as Dan, played by John Bishop. His name is Dan Lewis. I don't think we've known that before. Do correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think that's a brand new piece of information. It was just casually dropped by the presenter when she introduced him. So that's good. We got a tease of the guest star, the fact that he was in Game of Thrones. We'll come back to him in a minute, because he wasn't revealed right at the top. One of the things we found out, or that was hinted at, is that there has been a bit of time between the departure of the previous two companions, Graham and Ryan, and where we come into this story. We're told that we're coming in mid-adventure of the Doctor and Yaz, but they also reference the fact that the Doctor and Yaz have been travelling together for years. Now, that could just be referring to the previous two series, but possibly it also refers to the fact that there may have been a significant amount of time between the departure of Graham and Ryan and this new series where we drop in on them mid-adventure and they meet Dan. I kind of hope that's where they're going, because it's always nice to have these narrative gaps for the expanded media to fit in. We're going to, years to come, we're going to want Big Finish to fit in somewhere. Well, here's where all the Doctor and Yaz solo adventures can fit in, and all the books and stuff. Because there was a contingent of people out there that really wanted some Doctor and Yaz, just the two of them travelling in the TARDIS. Well, there's the space there for the expanded media to cover that. And then we got the revelation from Chris Chibnall, the most exciting revelation for myself that I was really excited about, that these 8 episodes are one big story. This is a serialized adventure, basically. These are all different parts of the same story. And that is something that I am really here for. This is something that I wanted for a long time for them to do. Something that just like this big epic story where there's no bits that aren't part of it. We've had long story arcs before. I'd say Series 6 is probably the most in-depth they've gotten with story arcs in the modern era. But here, every single episode, even in Series 6, there were episodes that didn't tie in to the overall plot arc. Here, by the sounds of it, every episode is going to be relevant. Which means a few things. We're going to get reoccurring characters, guest stars, that don't just appear in one episode, but pop up throughout the 8 episodes. It also means, one thing that John said a bit later on in the panel was that every episode finishes pretty much on a cliffhanger. And this is kind of what I was hoping we would get from Series 11. I kind of felt like we were teased that might happen in Series 11 because of the ending of that very first episode, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, and the cliffhanger leading into the next one. Kind of hoped we would get something where something like that happened on the majority of the episodes. Obviously, I did want some narrative gaps for the expanded media to fit in, but, I was kind of hoping for that to be the predominant thing in Series 11, where every episode would kind of end on a cliffhanger, sort of in the way the really early William Hartnell stuff did. leading into the next episode. Even if it didn't form a serialized storytelling in the sense of it all being one story for Series 11, that's what I was hoping. And we didn't get that past that first episode. So the fact that we're getting cliffhangers at the end of every episode, if John is to be believed here, then wow, that is going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how well they pull that off. We got our first image as well, which was the TARDIS team, Dr. Dan and Yaz, standing in some kind of room. There's some pillars in the background, like kind of a doorway leading into somewhere. Some kind of grating, kind of metal grating stuff on the wall. At first glance, not a particularly interesting location until you look at the very bottom of the screen, and they appear to be standing on a floor which has a pattern etched onto it. And if you look closely, the colour and the shape of the small bit of the pattern we can see, which is only sort of the top bit of it, does bear a striking resemblance to the seal of Rassilon. So, I think this is all going to tie in to the Time Lords. We're going to get this whole big story arc is going to tie into the Timeless Children, the story arc possibly with the Division. We're going to get some Gallifrey stuff, not necessarily on Gallifrey, but there's going to be some link in there, and I think that's the biggest clue we've got that is the case. I don't know, tell me what you think. I might be completely wrong about this, but I'd say 85% certain that what they're standing on there is the Seal of Rassilon. And for those that don't know, the Seal of Rassilon is the sort of main symbol used within Time Lord Society. It is the seal of the founder of Time Lord Society, Rassilon, which is used then on motifs throughout Gallifrey. In the Eighth Doctor's TV movie, it was all over his TARDIS. It's popped up everywhere over the years, and it's a really cool design as well. I know, let me know what you think. Do you think that is the Seal of Rassilon? Because I really do. And then we get the guest reveal in the form of a pre-recorded message from that guest, because he couldn't be there at the time. And that guest reveal, we'd been teased that it was somebody from Game of Thrones. It was, I had to check my notes there, Jacob Anderson, who played Grey Worm in Game of Thrones. He's playing a character apparently called, I couldn't quite catch whether or not it was Vindar, as in like Vin-Dar, or Vinder, one of the two. That's the character's name. We don't get to hear a lot about him. We get to see an image, which I'll show you in a second, but also the fact that he has his own ship and will be reoccurring in multiple episodes. So I'm very intrigued about who this character is, what's going on with him, basically. Looking at the picture, he's got this kind of... he's got these dreadlocks which come down to one side. He's got this he's got a kind of mixture of... I would say he with the dreadlocks and the jacket with the patches on, he kind of gives me, Dave Lister from Red Dwarf feels. Probably not in his personality, but certainly in his looks. He's got a little bit of Dave Lister in there. He's holding some kind of gun, which looks very ornate, kind of potentially, it looks like an old Western gun or something, but it does look slightly more sci-fi than that, so it kind of has a kind of steampunk element to it, maybe. He's got this belt with this weird language on. What can we tell from this image? Probably not an awful lot. He kind of looks like maybe he's a kind of like rogue, kind of maybe like Han Solo type character, possibly. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting off this image. But other than that, we can't really tell a lot about him. So we know what he looks like. We know he's got his own ship. We know he's going to be in multiple episodes. And we know his name is Vinder or Vindar. One thing about these images that's quite interesting is that, I think it was Jodie mentioned that these images were taken during a particular scene where there were lots of other characters there, some of which were not their friends. So I can imagine this possibly is going to be a final confrontation scene. Certainly in the image of the TARDIS crew that we saw, they look like they're squaring up to someone there. They look like Team Assemble, TARDIS Team Assemble. Not Avengers Assemble, TARDIS Team Assemble. Stand there ready for action. And certainly Vinder here looks like he's ready for action. He's holding his gun out. So this could possibly be a kind of final confrontation scene, maybe in the series finale. We've got who else could be there? If it's the Time Lords, maybe it's the Division. Maybe the Cyber Masters are coming. Cyber Lords are coming back with the Master. There are possibilities here, but I think we're probably looking at a final confrontation scene. We already knew there were going to be old monsters. We know the Sontarans are back, for instance. And that was kind of re-emphasized here. Mandip in one amusing moment said, sort of cautiously said, old monsters, while looking over at Chris like, old monsters? Like, am I allowed to say this? And got a reaffirming nod. So she was allowed to say they were old monsters. And we already know there's going to be old monsters. Probably, we know there's Sontarans already. Was that what she was referring to? Who knows? Because she said she was really excited about these old monsters. And would she be excited about Sontarans? I don't know. She's already faced the Daleks. She's already faced the Cybermen. So maybe, once you're down past those two, I don't know what a younger fan could get really excited about. Maybe the Sontarans. Maybe it's the Weeping Angels. If she's referring by old monsters, she doesn't just mean classic series. She means just like, because 15 years ago is still quite old for modern series beginnings. So yeah, maybe it's somebody from the modern series as well. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, given that they emphasized older monsters quite a lot in this talk, that maybe we're going to get at least one returning monster in every, or returning villain in every single episode, possibly. Could be. And then we get the trailer. And the trailer was short, sweet. We got a few nice scenes in there. I'm not going to go into depth about it now. I might do another trailer breakdown if I can find the time. But yeah, it was quite good. I didn't quite like all the text flashing up on the screen. Just, I found annoying. I did. But the scenes looked interesting. Got some Jodie looking very serious in there. Looking like she's maybe going to show off her sort of more angry side, possibly, and not just the bubbly side, which we've seen a lot of. We have seen the angry side, but not as much as we maybe did do with some other Doctors. And we got to see some more of Vinda as well, so that's good. And then the last thing was that the presenter, the interviewer, asked them to all say one word about this upcoming series that they might want to put out there. Most of them were pretty generic, kind of like, I can't remember what they were, but kind of things like action, excitement, that kind of thing. But then Chris Chibnall said the word swarm. That's got to be a clue to something, but what? What does swarm mean? I don't know, but it means something. So maybe a swarm of bad guys, some kind of bad guys that fly, maybe, or are insect-like. I don't know. But swarm is a word that is apparently related to Series 13. And that is pretty much, I think, everything we learned from the Comic-Con panel 2021 about Series 13. If I missed anything, do pop it in the comments below. Yeah, I've recorded a trailer reaction as well, which I recorded before I watched the panel, because they released the trailer on social media at the beginning of the panel. So I paused the panel, watched that, recorded a reaction, and then I watched the panel. So I will put that out at some point. I'm not sure which way around I'm doing this. And then that's why I don't know who Vindar is in the trailer reaction, because I watched that first. So that is why. But do check that out when I eventually get it up. Or it might be up already. Who knows? But thanks for watching. Let me know all your thoughts on the panel. Are you excited? What are you most excited about? Do you think we got enough information there? Do you think they teased enough without giving too much away? Do you think they gave too much away? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. And I'll be back for more Doctor Who videos soon. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.